Welcome to this episode of the Heartbeat for Hire podcast. I feature Olympians, CEOs, disruptors, authors, professional athletes, and the best of the best, where they share their stories of resilience with my lens on leadership and culture. Let's get started. Greetings and welcome to this episode of Heartbeat for Hire. A podcast is only as good as its guests, and today is no exception. David Meltzer is a legendary sports executive and formerly served as CEO of the renowned Leigh Steinberg Sports and Entertainment Agency, which was the inspiration for the movie Jerry Maguire. He is one of the world's top entrepreneurs, investors, and business coaches. David has been recognized by Variety magazine as their Sports Humanitarian of the Year and awarded the Ellis Island Medal of Honor. David is the executive producer of the Apple TV series 2 Minute Drill and Office Hours. He's also the executive producer of Entrepreneur's #1 digital business show, Elevator Pitch. David has featured in many books, movies, and TV shows such as World's Greatest Motivators, Think and Grow Rich, and Beyond the Secret, featured on Netflix. His life's mission is to empower over 1 billion people to be happy. This simple yet powerful mission has led him on an incredible journey to provide one thing: value. In all his content and communication, that is exactly what you'll receive. David, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. This is a perfect place at a perfect time. So appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, it is totally my honor. So thank you. Thank you. So for those that don't know you, I mean, I teased it a little bit, but can you share a little bit about your story?
Sure. I call it the tale of three worlds. The first world was the one I was born into. It's familiar to a lot of people. It's the world of not enough. I was born with a single mom, 6 kids. My dad left when I was 5. Amazing mom and even more amazing siblings. But we were poor. In fact, the only time I wasn't happy as a child was when there's financial difficulties, which I'm sure a lot of people in the world of not enough identify with. When the car breaks down or there's not enough money for food, there becomes a lot of stress or dis-ease in the family unit. And my mom worked 2 jobs. She was a 2nd grade teacher, packed my dinner in a paper bag for all 6 kids to help teach each other, and then filled up turnstiles at convenience stores with greeting cards just so we could eat. And sometimes we were a little short on that. But I wanted to be rich for one reason. In that world of not enough, I wanted to buy my mom a house and a car. I thought that if I could be rich, it would solve the only problem I knew existed in my life. I had this wonderful family, love, education. I just didn't have any money. So logically, it seems, looking back for me, that money would be my objective. It would be the solution to my happiness. And so everything that I did was based off of, how am I going to make enough money to buy my mom a house and a car, to be rich? When I was 5 years old, ironically, I remember telling my mom, I'm going to make $1 million and I'm going to buy you a house, a car, and I'll never have to work again.
Oh, $1 million, if only.
Exactly. Now I've just revealed how old I am. But more importantly, I engaged with this philosophy, which became the definition of happiness for me. I was taught and I practiced enjoying the consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit pursuit of my own potential. And so through a variety of different trajectories, one, to be a professional athlete, which ended right in college when I got ran over my first play playing football. 2, being a doctor, which quickly became not my trajectory when I learned that doctors had to be in hospitals. I thought sports doctors were just on sidelines. I eventually chose the law, and specifically oil and gas, because they made so much money, oil and gas litigators. I chose the law school that I went to with many options because they were the top maritime law school in the world. But in the end, I took a job for the money. I sold in 1992 legal research online. I took the job because they had a $250,000 comp plan with commissions and expenses. And I thought, okay, this will be how I buy my mom a house and a car. In fact, to give you a little bit of a mindset in this enjoyment of the consistent, persistent pursuit of my potential, I focused in on learning to love what I did. And later on in life, I realized what a superpower that was. I remember praying to God. My oldest brother passed away when I was in law school, and I had $100,000 of loans. It was a recession in 1992. There wasn't many jobs. I remember praying to God and saying, God, if you would let me make enough money to pay off my law loans and buy my mom a house, I will shovel shit with my hands 6 days a week, 12 hours a day in gratitude. I get choked up because I still have that mindset, even though I've been blessed to make far more than $1 million. I still have that mindset that I'm willing to do what it takes. I have a desire that I must be what I can be, but I'm also willing to enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of what I can be. And that led me to be a millionaire 9 months out of law school, despite people telling me the internet would never last. My mom told me it was a fad, told me I was making the biggest mistake of my life, giving me another valuable lesson that just because someone loves you doesn't mean they give you good advice. And that's when my life really turned to believe that money buys love and happiness. Because everything from the time I was 24 years old, I exited the company at $3.4 billion in 95. I went to Sand Hill Road and raised hundreds of millions of dollars. By 1999, I was worth over $100 million, CEO of Samsung's phone division, married to my dream girl, in my dream life. And everything was a confirmation that money could buy whatever was missing. If I wasn't happy, I'd buy things. If I was unhappy, I'd buy more things, different things. I'd buy things I didn't need to impress people I didn't like. But it all came crashing down. Yeah, that's what I call the world of just enough for me. Yeah. And it's a false positive. It's a false optimism that exists within for me. And I had to lose everything, almost my life, almost my wife, but all of my money, over $100 million, while I was running the most notable sports agency in the world, having access to what billionaires couldn't even afford. I lost everything. And that's when I found my faith. And that's when I found my values of who I was and what I wanted to be. And that was my story of my three worlds of not enough as a victim, just enough for me, buying things I didn't need to impress people I didn't like, to this new world, not a zero-sum world, but a value-add world, where for the last 17 years, I've been adding value to other people with appreciation, acknowledgement, and asking for help to create an abundance, a unified, infinite system of thought in which I participate in every day to be of service and of value to others and to ask for help myself. And it's been quite a journey. Been able to make back everything in a different way by helping people and having fun.
So you said so much there, so I have to peel back on some of the stuff. So the show is a lot about resilience, which is why I was so interested in having you on it in the first place, because to build up all of that wealth, to lose all of that wealth, to make it back, to come from hunger. I mean, you couldn't be a better poster child for my show. But anyway, so talk me through, you lost all that money. You have to feel completely gutted. And yet that's where you found your joy. That's where you found your happiness. Talk through some of that, because I think that's really fascinating to understand.
Well, I think it's important that I went through a transformation 2 years before I lost everything, which helped me be prepared for losing everything. My wife, I sat on my bed one night after I had lied to my wife. I went to the Grammy Awards with a rap star named Little John, and I came home intoxicated or more, and she told me she wasn't happy. She was leaving me. And the next morning I sat on my bed and I realized that I hated my mom. I hated my dad. I hated my best friend, and I hated my wife. And I realized, how is it that the four most important people in my life I hate, and everyone else are the people that I love because they're telling me that they love me, and these four people are telling me they love me, and that's why they're telling me the truth, that I'm lost and I'm going down a bad path. And it was actually a jacket that my father gave me when I was 30. My dad and I weren't in great communication, and he had forgotten my birthday when I was 10. He lied to me and said he didn't believe in birthdays, even though he had celebrated everyone's birthday. And I told my dad when I was 10, I hated him. But at 30, he gave me a birthday present. He gave me a jacket. And I remember being so fulfilled when I got this present that my dad had changed. He had learned and he wanted a relationship with me. And when I put the jacket on, I was crying. And my wife's like, oh my God, what's the matter? I said, I can't tell you how happy I am that my dad loves me. And I opened up the jacket and he had torn out all the pockets. And I immediately went into a rage and I called him so upset, going, why would you give me this jacket? I can't even wear it. Why do you always have to prove some point? He said, whoa, 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 son, I love you. I'm worried you're just like me. So I gave you that jacket not to wear, but to hang in your closet to remind you that you're just like me, that money does not buy you love or happiness. It's to remind you you can't take anything with you. Yeah. That jacket will represent a guidepost for where you need to be. At that time, at 30, the arrogant Dave wasn't ready to hear it. So I told him I hated him again and I hung up. Here I was on my bed, hating everyone who was important to me. And I looked over, there was that jacket. It stood out. And I realized at that time, 2 years before I lost everything, that I don't hate my dad. I don't hate my mom. I don't hate my best friend. And I certainly didn't hate my wife. I hated myself.
Yeah.
I realized that I was a liar, a cheater, a manipulator, overseller, and back-end seller. I had lost the values that my mom taught me to get to where I was and to get to me where I want to be. So when I lost everything, my basement had a basement, but I was ready for it. Not only did I lose everything, but I also had to go tell my mom I was bankrupt, which was my biggest fear. It was something that was my mom's biggest fear for me because I was a risk taker. I wasn't a doctor or a lawyer, which meant I was going to be a failure. And I also had lost my mom's house. The only reason I wanted to be rich was to buy her house.
Right.
I didn't take my name off of her title. I lost her house. And so when I told her that I lost everything and that she had to move, my mom looked at me and said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Mom, you didn't hear me. I lost your house too. You need to move." She said, "I heard you. Are you okay?" I said, "Mom, I lost your house. I'm not okay." She said, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, do you need money?" I said, "My mom, do you need money?" I was like, and I realized where I had come from and where I wanted to be. Yeah. I wanted to live my life like my mom in radical humility. Yeah. I was just born with a different gift than my mom. My mom was a catalyst, a teacher. She elevated others that elevated her. I was born with a gift to make money. And I was using that gift for my own, for me projection of the to me, the victimization I had utilized. And so I sat down and took stock in who I was, and I started living with values, gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, and effective communication. And I practiced those values for the last 15 years to get me to where I am today, and have evolved into creating this abundance by helping other people, by knowing what I want and who I can help and who can help me. And it's worked out into the world of more than enough. I live in a value add world, not a zero sum game.
Yeah, I love that. And I was lucky enough to be on your show, and I've been following you for a while now. So I understand what value you put out. And I love that you lead with your heart. And that is something that's so important to me. And clearly your team embraces that and is a part of your world because of it. And I think the best leaders do lead with heart. They lead with humility. They lead with vulnerability. So I have to imagine, attention, visionary leaders, are you ready to elevate your leadership style and create an exceptional workplace that stands out from the crowd? I'm here to introduce you to a game-changing resource that will transform the way you lead and shape your company culture. It's time to embrace the power of top-down culture. This practical guide empowers your leadership for lasting success, helping you create a workplace where everyone thrives. Get top-down culture today, and let's reshape the future of leadership together in your trajectory up and your trajectory back up again, you encountered some interesting leadership styles. Is there any one specific style that influenced you more than others?
Yeah, so Bob Proctor became a mentor of mine. I had this philosophy when I lost everything that the fastest way to get to where I wanted to be was two different things. One, to find someone that was in the situation I wanted to be in, and two, to help other people get to the situation they want to get in. So ask people to pull up a chair where they are and then pull up a chair where I am. And it worked really well. Bob Proctor had a philosophy about being a leader. And he said, the greatest leaders are intelligent followers. And David, you need to be more interested than interesting to the leader.
Curiosity is king, right?
And gratitude is so closely reconciled in curiosity, because my philosophy is I am on a journey to find the light, the love, and the lessons in everything and everyone, using my four values to do so. So I'm seeking light, love, and lessons every day in alignment with where I want to be or better. And I call it my meaning seeker. So when you find light, love, and lessons in everything, you're giving the meaning to everything you see to be aligned with where you want to be. And so that's changed my life as a leader, where instead of being a rah-rah superstar, a motivator and a perturbator, I became someone who was inspired through following and learning and being interested. And in fact, my whole value system is based off of learning what people like and don't like. I've simplified value to the only way I can provide value to people is to give them more of what they like or take away some or all of what they don't like. So if I don't know what you like and I don't like, I can't help. I can't add value. And the only way to do it is to be more interested and to be an intelligent follower. And it's worked really well. And it's also helped other people be great leaders as well, which is, my mission to empower over 1 billion people is not me personally empowering them.
It's your extension of your people, right? And
1,000 people like Lyndsay.
you're speaking my language, because I wrote my book about transforming leadership to drive results, and so much of that is about getting to know your people, understanding who they are, what are their interests, what are their career aspirations, so you can be their advocate. And when you can be their advocate, you can put them on a path to greatness. And when you give people the space to do the job that they were hired for, that's when the magic can happen. So I love that you shared all of that. It was like right out of my head. So it was fabulous. So what is your business comprised of today? I mean, I know you've got your TV shows and you've got all of that stuff. Who do you work with? Who do you support? Share that so the audience understands.
Yeah, I've changed my philosophy. I've been in sales and marketing for so long at the highest levels with some of the biggest companies, most notable companies in the world. And what I've realized is today, the total addressable community is so large that my business is based off of building a community. And to build that community by providing free, whatever that may be, content, training, books, everything that I do for free, to create group communities that help each other and know people that can help each other. And then to derive most of my revenue from intimate one-on-one help that I give. Mainly my superpowers are, hey, what would David do based off of the dummy tax that you paid? And two, who does David know? And those are extremely valuable powers that I have, especially with bigger companies and higher net wealth individuals. But in the context of community, because the size, scope, and scale of the addressable community is so large, my main intention is to build a frequency, a neighborhood of people who want to help each other and know people that can help each other. And what I have found is that if you can build this community, I build it 2 at a time, like Noah in his ark, except for mine's a virtual ark where everyone can join and we don't have to look the same or act the same. Exactly. Fill up my stadium. But what I have found is today, because the addressable community is so large, that if we build a community of people that want to help each other and know people that can help each other, that community does 2 things for life. They buy from you for life, and they sell for you for life. And it's not just product solutions or services, it's ideas, it's values, it's acknowledgments, recollections, reminders, and remembrances of our abundant, infinite system of thought that we all belong to. And so, in the context of all the content that I create, free, group, one-on-one, it's all to build community, a neighborhood, a frequency, a higher vibration of awareness and abundance and kindness, intuition, intelligence, and most importantly, inspiration. And I have found that community has been extremely powerful and is helping so many people in helping themselves and helping others.
I believe that too. I want to dig in a little bit on abundance. So for people that are starting out as entrepreneurs, like my journey was corporate for 25 years, and then I switched to being an entrepreneur. What the hell did I know about that? It's a completely different skill set. And I think, like me, you find yourself going, oh my gosh, do I know what I'm doing? I used to run really big businesses. I kind of had the chops, but it's a totally different thing. So what's your advice for those people starting out to live in that abundance and getting started the right way?
Two things. One is simple. It's asking for help. Once again, in the total addressable community, we now have access to people like you and me and several other of our friends that are quite available to help, to give you directions on where we are. But the other one is just understanding abundance in its essence. And what I mean by that is that a lot of people don't understand abundance. They think abundance incorporates appreciation, which means to add value. I think a lot of entrepreneurs understand that, and they have a gracious lens when they are productive and accessible. And then the second component of abundance is acknowledgement. Acknowledgement means acquiring the knowledge. And they think that acquiring the knowledge is a very optimistic view, but it's confusing. They believe acknowledgement, and I learned this from my mom, is that the more that you give, the more you will receive acknowledgement. The more you give, the more you receive. Acknowledgement occurs not just from giving, though. To acquire the knowledge of what you have, you must not have it anymore. So not only can you give it away to receive, but you can also have it lost, stolen, manipulated, and cheated from you, which is part of being an entrepreneur, by the way. So to understand acknowledgement is to understand abundance. And then the third component is incorporated into the first piece of advice, which is that when we tell people the more that you give, the more you receive, we're not telling them the whole story. You see, the third component of abundance is to have faith that there's more than enough of everything for everyone. Therefore, if you truly believe there's more than enough of everything for everyone, if you truly believe that, then the greatest thing you can do is ask for help, ask for more, ask for what other people have, because the more you have, the more you can give, the more you give, the more you receive. And so abundance to me is not only appreciation, not only acknowledgement of not having it anymore, but the missing component for most entrepreneurs is they live in a zero-sum game, trading, negotiating, lying, cheating, manipulating people, instead of that zero-sum game, having faith. You know what? I live in a value-add world, an expansive world that appreciates, aggregates, and exponentially provides me outcomes that I may not understand or know at the time. So I must, as part of an abundant system, ask for more. So I can give more and receive more, create even a greater flow, a greater ease, a greater abundance in an infinite, unified system of thought that has more than enough of everything for everyone.
Yeah. Love that. I that is such a piece that people don't understand. I think the give and receive thing, people get that. They talk about that all the time. The asking for help, I learned that early because there's so much I didn't know. And, you know, part of curating your network, which is something you do so well, is finding those people that have skills that you don't have. Hire people to do the things you suck at, and then to learn as much as you possibly can. But that mindset allows for collaboration, partnerships. Entrepreneurship is not a straight line. And I think corporate, you think there's a career path, at least that's what they tell you. So it's really interesting when you kind of embrace all of even the people that you think are your competition, really spending the time with them to lift them up and recognize them. It only makes you better. I love that.
Amen.
Yay. Okay. So one of my favorite questions that I always ask on the show is, what inspires you?
Kindness, forgiveness, and gratitude. So I think that, when we look at the word inspired, it's what puts me in spirit, what allows me to identify what I'm doing to interfere with the more than enough, with something bigger than me that protects and promotes and loves me all the time, that's omniscient and all powerful. And I think, when we look at kindness, in that context, we are clearing what we're afraid of. You can't be kind and afraid. You can't be grateful and afraid. You can't be forgiving and afraid. And fear is what interferes with that abundance, with that infinite, omniscient, all powerful, all knowing that protects and promotes and loves us. And so for me, what puts me in spirit is kindness and gratitude and forgiveness. And I'm especially studying forgiveness today. I see by studying history, fear that's created via the human nature, that we create generations of hate because we're not willing to trust the value of forgiveness. And as much as hate will accelerate and aggregate and compound more hate, believe it or not, forgiveness will do the same. And it takes a lot of courage to forgive things that are or could be perceived as unforgivable. And so kindness, forgiveness, and gratitude will save this world. It may take us a while, generations and lifetimes, to figure it out or be enlightened by the power and the faith that is necessary in order to incorporate kindness, forgiveness, and gratitude. But eventually, if there's enough people like you and I, Lyndsay, that are successful enough to at least raise the awareness that this may be an option to live your life in kindness, in gratitude, and in forgiveness, that more and more people will move and trend in that direction instead of separation, superiority, or inferiority.
I want to believe in my heart that is despite the situation with war that we're in right now in multiple places in the world, I do really want to believe that is what people seek. I think there is far more people that would push away conflict in hopes of resolution and connection. And I see it every day. And I really hope that what I'm seeing is bigger than just my two little eyes. But I love that you said that. So what's next for you? And if people are interested in being a part of your community, how do they get involved?
Well, what's next for me is to continue to build a community of people that want to help each other, know people that help each other. For your community, I'd love to give them my book. I'll pay for the book and shipping. If you email me for anything, I do free Friday trainings, free lives, free question and answers, ask me anything, free meetups in every city I go to, 200 meetups this year that I've done in person to help people. What would David know, or who does David know, with all the dummy texts that I paid. So email me directly. I answer all my emails, david@dmeltzer.com. I'd love to send you my book. I'll sign it. I'll ship it to you. I'll pay for the book and shipping for anyone in your community. Let's elevate others to elevate ourselves. And I appreciate the opportunity. Be kind to your future self and do good deeds. And I promise you
all of that. So I have one last question for you. And what would you like your legacy to be?
Kindness. That's easy. Kindness.
That's easy. You're already in it. I mean, this whole conversation was about it. So that was a gimme. That was great. So, I mean, you gave your email. How do people find you? What's your website?
dmeltzer.com. or if you forget all of it, just Google my name. I'm lucky. There's a lot
You're
out
easy to
there with
find.
my name on it.
You're
David
easy to
Meltzer.
find. My
Yeah.
friend, this
Thank
has
you.
been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for all that you do. And thank you for sharing it with my audience. I am so happy to know you, and I can't wait to do more together. And you can check me off for I Want Your Books.
You got it. And one of my 1,000. So I know you'll be empowering thousands to empower thousands. Thank you for having me and giving me this opportunity. May God bless you as well.
Oh, it's my absolute pleasure. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Heartbeat for Hire. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe to my YouTube channel or leave a 5-star review at Spotify. I appreciate you listening. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Heartbeat for Hire podcast. If you liked what you heard, please consider leaving a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would be ever so grateful. I hope you found it useful. Have a wonderful day.